A serious jazz player from Johannesburg did not move to England dreaming of becoming the face of a bright little pop machine. He loved Miles Davis. He loved John Coltrane. He wanted the grit of blues, the swing of jazz, the kind of music that did not need a teenage scream to prove it was alive. Then a producer took his name and put it on the whole band. The first big break came from a television countdown. The first worldwide smash was a song they did not write. Their albums leaned into jazz, blues, R&B, and odd little experiments, while the public kept asking for more handclaps. They hit #1 with Do Wah Diddy Diddy. They hit #1 again with Pretty Flamingo. And just when the charts made them look unstoppable, the band started coming apart. Mike Vickers left. Paul Jones wanted out. Jack Bruce passed through and ran straight into Cream. Even EMI let the group go while signing their singer as a solo act. The chart numbers are real. The lineup changes are real. The name problem is real. Because the strangest part is this: the more successful they became, the less anyone seemed to know who they actually were. This is the real story of Manfred Mann, the band that conquered pop radio while trying not to become a pop band. And by the end, even their own name had turned into a trap. Chapter 1. The jazz man who lost his own name. Before there was a band called Manfred Mann, there was Manfred Lubowitz, a jazz-obsessed young musician from Johannesburg, South Africa. He was born in 1940, nowhere near the London clubs that would later turn his name into a pop brand. His real musical world was not built around screaming teenagers or shiny hit singles. It was built around players like Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Cannonball Adderley, Ornette Coleman, Bill Evans, and Dave Brubeck. That matters, because the biggest misunderstanding about this band starts right there. The public would come to know them through bright, catchy records, but the man at the center of the name came from jazz, blues, and serious arrangement. As a teenager in Johannesburg, Mann played dances in coffee bars, studied classical music at Witwatersrand University, and worked around musicians who were thinking far beyond simple pop formulas. One of them was Hugh, who would become one of South Africa's most important jazz figures. In 1961, Mann moved to England. He made his living as a jazz pianist and teacher, and at first he wrote under the name Manfred Mann, inspired by drummer Shelly Manne. Later, he dropped the final letter and became Manfred Mann. At that point, it was just a name. Then the name started to grow teeth. In 1962, Mann met drummer and percussionist Mike Hugg while playing at a Butlins resort in Clacton. The connection was musical first. They played together in a group that included Graham Bond, then formed their own band, the Mann-Hugg Blues Brothers. Even that early name tells you where their heads were. This was not supposed to be a sweet little chart act. It was a blues and R&B band with jazz muscles underneath. The lineup took shape when singer Paul Jones came in, followed by players like Mike Vickers and bassist Dave Richmond. They were talented, flexible musicians. Vickers could move between guitar, sax, and flute. Hugg brought percussion and vibraphone. Mann had piano and organ. They had the tools to be strange. Then the industry found them, cleaned up the sign, and made the first big decision for them. Producer John Burgess decided the group needed a shorter name. He chose Manfred Mann. Mann himself did not want it. That is the first wound of the story. A serious musician's name became the label on a whole band, and before long, even the people inside that band would struggle to escape it. Chapter 2. The television countdown that changed everything. By early 1963, the main lineup was in place. Manfred Mann on keyboards, Mike Hugg on drums and percussion, Paul Jones on vocals, Mike Vickers on guitar and reeds, and Dave Richmond on bass. They worked the London club scene, including places like the Marquee, where musicians had to prove themselves in front of people who could spot weakness fast. The band's roots were still in blues, jazz, and R&B. They were not built like a normal pop group, and that became part of the problem. Talent did not mean the public knew what to do with them. Their manager, Kenneth Pitt, helped get them in front of record labels. In May 1963, they passed an audition with EMI and signed to the HMV label. Their producer, John Burgess, was now steering them, and the band made its first single, Why Should We Not, backed with Brother Jack. record showed what they could do. There was sax, harmonica, organ, and real instrumental bite. It did not make them stars. The next single, Cock-a-Hoop, got some radio attention, but still failed to break through in the way a new band needs. They had ability. They had a sound. What they did not have yet was a hook the whole country could recognize in seconds. Then television handed them one. The British music show Ready Steady Go needed a new theme. Manfred Mann were asked to write it, and the result was 5 4 3 2 1. Think about that for a second. Their first real hit was not born from a grand artistic statement. It was a countdown for a television show. But it worked. 5 4 3 2 1 became the permanent signature tune for Ready Steady Go, and it gave the band a national identity. In 1964, it reached number 5 on the British chart and stayed around long enough to turn them from a club act into a name people knew. That should have felt like freedom. Instead, it pushed them deeper into the machine. Right after the song was recorded, Dave Richmond left the band. Tom McGuinness came in and switched from guitar to bass so he could take the job. Even at the start of their success, Manfred Mann were already changing shape. The public heard a sharp new pop act with a television theme. Inside the band, things were messier. They were serious players learning that visibility comes with a price. Once people know your name, they start deciding what that name means. For Manfred Mann, the name was about to mean something much bigger, much brighter, and much harder to escape. Chapter 3, the hit they could not escape. The record that changed everything was Do Wah Diddy Diddy. It was not written by the band. It came from Jeff Barry and Ellie Greenwich, two major American songwriters with a gift for building records that sounded simple, direct, and impossible to forget. The song had already been recorded by the Exciters, but their version only made a small mark in America. Manfred Mann turned it into something else. With Paul Jones out front, the band made Do Wah Diddy Diddy bounce, grin, and punch through the radio. It had hand claps, a chant anyone could remember, and the kind of chorus that moved into your head without asking permission. In 1964, it went to number 1 in the United Kingdom. Then it went to number 1 in the United States too. That is the kind of success most bands spend years chasing. For Manfred Mann, it came fast, loud, and with a trap hidden inside it. Once Do Wah Diddy Diddy became the public face of the band, people thought they understood them. They did not. This was the strange split at the heart of Manfred Mann. The singles could be bright, catchy, and almost cartoon simple on the surface, but the albums told a different story. Their debut album, The 5 Faces of Manfred Mann, reached number 3 in the United Kingdom, and it showed a band far more interested in blues, jazz, R&B, and sharp musicianship than many casual fans expected. That contrast became part of their identity. A person could buy the single expecting another blast of easy pop, then hear an album full of American R&B covers, jazz touches, organ lines, saxophone, flute, vibraphone, and arrangements that did not behave like ordinary beat group filler. The band had become famous for sounding simple. They were not simple at all. That made Do Wah Diddy Diddy both a blessing and a problem. It opened the door to the world. It gave them a transatlantic number 1. It made Manfred Mann part of the British invasion story. But it also locked them inside an image they had never really designed for themselves. The public wanted more of that big, clean, happy sound. The musicians were still carrying blues records, jazz instincts, and odd little ideas into the studio. That is where the wound gets deeper. Success did not just change their bankability, it changed the argument around them. From this point on, Manfred Mann had to keep proving they were more than the last hit, while the charts kept rewarding them whenever they sounded like something lighter, and the name made it worse. To fans, Manfred Mann sounded like one person, one face, one easy answer. But behind that name were Paul Jones, Mike Hugg, Mike Vickers, Tom McGuinness, and the reluctant keyboard player whose name had swallowed them all. The hit made them famous. It also made them harder to see. Chapter 4, Number 1, While Falling Apart. By the middle of the 60s, Manfred Mann looked like a band with everything working. The records were charting, the name was known. The group had a sharp singer in Paul Jones, a strong rhythm mind in Mike Hugg, and a restless musical brain in Manfred Mann. Around them, Mike Vickers and Tom McGuinness gave the band more flexibility than most pop acts had. But success did not make them stable. It made every crack louder. In 1965, Mike Vickers left. He wanted to move into composing and arranging, which tells you something important about the kind of musicians this band attracted. These were not players who only wanted to stand still and repeat the last single until the audience got bored. Vickers had other ambitions, and once he stepped away, the balance changed. Then came the bigger problem. Paul Jones wanted out too. Jones was the voice most listeners recognized. He had the frontman's face, the pop star presence, and the kind of confidence television could understand. Losing him was not like changing a background player. It meant the sound people knew as Manfred Mann was about to lose its main human doorway. Before that exit fully happened, the band tried to keep moving. In early 1966, Jones was sidelined by a car accident, and the group leaned harder into instrumental recordings. That accident pushed them toward material that later appeared on Instrumental Asylum, which fit the musicians better than the pop image did. Then Jack Bruce entered the story. For a moment, the future member of Cream was inside Manfred Mann, bringing that heavy bass intelligence and blues power with him. But he was not there to become part of a tidy pop machine either. Soon, Bruce left to form Cream with Eric Clapton and Ginger Baker. That alone would be enough drama for most bands. Manfred Mann had more coming. In 1966, Pretty Flamingo went to #1 in the United Kingdom. On paper, it looked like victory. Another hit. Another reason for the industry to believe the band could not miss. Behind the chart position, though, the original version of the group was falling apart. Paul Jones was leaving. Jack Bruce was gone. Mike Vickers had already moved on. The band had a #1 single and still felt like something was slipping through its hands. And then EMI made the wound public. When the band's contract ended in May 1966, the label signed Paul Jones as a solo act and let Manfred Mann go. Think about how cold that is. The group had just delivered a #1 record, but the label looked at the band and chose the singer instead. The name still had value, the song still had value, but the company decided the safer bet was the man at the microphone. For a band already trapped inside an identity problem, that had to sting. The whole story was suddenly visible. The public name was Manfred Mann. The label wanted Paul Jones. The musicians wanted room to play something deeper than radio candy. Every piece was pulling in a different direction. From the outside, Pretty Flamingo sounded light and sweet. Inside the band, it landed like a farewell. Chapter 5: The Replacement Band That Refused to Die. Most bands do not survive losing their lead singer at the exact moment their first version is breaking apart. Manfred Mann did. That may be the most stubborn part of the story. After EMI let the group go and Paul Jones moved into a solo career, Manfred Mann, Mike Hugg, and Tom McGuinness rebuilt instead of folding. They signed with Fontana Records and brought in a new singer, Mike Dabo. They also added Klaus Voormann on bass, a musician already tied to the wider Beatles world and the swinging London scene. That new lineup could have felt like a replacement copy. Instead, it gave the band another strange life. The first big move was Just Like a Woman, a Bob Dylan song. It reached the United Kingdom top 10 and proved the band could still turn outside material into hits. But it also repeated the old problem. Once again, Manfred Mann were surviving through someone else's song, while trying to prove there was a real band underneath the arrangement. Then came Semi-Detached Suburban Mr. James, which reached #2 in the United Kingdom. The title itself sounded like a little sideways joke at British respectability, and the record helped the new version of the band settle into a sharper pop identity. They were not simply pretending Paul Jones had never left. They were changing the shape of the act. With Mike Dabo singing, the group moved toward pop, psychedelia, and more playful studio ideas. The album As Is showed that shift, adding stranger textures and a looser sense of possibility. The musicians had not given up on experimenting. They had just learned to hide the experiment inside records the public might actually buy. That was the trick. The band kept finding ways to sound accessible without becoming ordinary. "Ha! Ha!" said the clown, became another major hit. And then the second lineup found its biggest moment with the mighty Quinn. Once again, the song came from Bob Dylan. Once again, Manfred Mann turned another writer's material into a record that belonged to them on the radio. In 1968, the mighty Quinn reached #1 in the United Kingdom. It also became their only other American top 10 hit after Do Wah Diddy Diddy. That kind of comeback should have settled the argument. It did not. By now, Manfred Mann was less like one fixed band and more like a moving machine. The singer had changed, the bassist had changed, the sound had changed, yet the name kept rolling forward, collecting hits as if nothing underneath had shifted. For the audience, that might have been enough. For the people inside it, the question was harder. Was Manfred Mann a band, a brand, or one reluctant keyboard player's name stretched over every new version? The second lineup proved the machine could still work. It also proved the machine could keep swallowing whoever stepped inside. Chapter 6. The name outlives the band. By 1969, even the second version of Manfred Mann had reached its limit. The band had survived the loss of Paul Jones. It had survived a label change. It had survived the shift from R&B club band to pop hitmakers, then into stranger studio work with Mike DeBow and Klaus Voormann. It had scored with Just Like a Woman, semi-detached suburban Mr. James,
Got your man. I hope you won't.
Ha ha, said the clown,
Is it bringing you down? You lost your chance.
and the mighty Quinn.
I like to go just like the rest. I like my sugar sweet.
But survival is not the same as peace. In 1969, Mann dissolved the lineup and moved into Manfred Mann Chapter 3 with Mike Hugg. This was not a clean commercial restart. It was a turn toward jazz rock, closer in spirit to the serious musician buried under all those bright singles. Hugg moved into piano, vocals, and major songwriting, while Mann handled organ and arranging. The problem was simple. The public did not follow with the same hunger. Manfred Mann Chapter 3 was musically ambitious, but it was not popular enough to carry the name forward in a big way. So Mann changed direction again, and that led to Manfred Mann's Earth Band, with Mick Rogers on vocals and guitar. At that point, the old 60s band was gone. The name was not. That is where the story becomes almost absurd. Years after Do Wah Diddy Diddy,
Nearly every single day singing.
after Pretty Flamingo,
Crimson dress that
after the mighty Quinn,
come to him. Come on without. Come on.
the Manfred Mann name found another huge life through a completely different band. The record was Blinded by the Light, written by Bruce Springsteen. Mann did not even spot it as the obvious prize at first. When he went through Springsteen's debut album looking for possible songs, Blinded by the Light was low on his list.
Wrapped up like a douche, another runner in the night. Blind.
Later in the studio, the arrangement took strange turns, including the chord idea from Chris Slade that helped unlock the record. Then the song exploded. Manfred Mann's Earth Band took Blinded by the Light to #1 in the United States and #6 in the United Kingdom. Another outside writer, another new lineup, another hit that made the name bigger while making the history blurrier. That is the strange legacy of Manfred Mann. It was never just one thing. It was a jazz player's name, a British invasion pop act, a blues and R&B band in disguise, a Dylan hit machine, a jazz rock detour, then a 70s rock band that turned Springsteen into a chart topper before Springsteen himself ever had a #1 single in America. The name survived every version, but it also swallowed every version. By the end, Manfred Mann was not just a band people remembered. It was a question people kept misunderstanding. Who was the real Manfred Mann? The man, the group, the hits, or the strange machine that kept changing shape every time success tried to define it? In the end, Manfred Mann became famous for the very thing they could never fully control. A serious jazz-minded musician gave his name to a band, then watched that name become bigger than the people inside it. Paul Jones sang the early hits. Mike Dabo carried the second wave. Mike Hugg, Tom McGuinness, Mike Vickers, Klaus Voormann, Jack Bruce, and later Mick Rogers all helped push the story forward. But to most listeners, it was still one name on the label. That is what makes the story so strange. The band conquered radio with songs they often did not write, changed shape again and again, and still left behind records that refused to disappear. Wah Diddy Diddy made them famous. The Mighty Quinn kept them alive. Blinded by the Light made the name immortal. But the name was also the trap.